The settlers of Vexus forspoke in hushed voices about the phantom, a shadow that stalked the misty jungle, lurking between the towering obsidian trees. It was a creature of nightmares, silent, unseen, but deadly. Those who ventured too far into the wilds never returned. Survivors, delirious with fear, whispered only one thing before collapsing. It was human. Yet, no human had ever survived outside the colony's walls. The jungle was an ecosystem of monsters, filled with venomous stalkers and razor-clawed beasts. So how could this thing be human? Commander Liora Velasquez had always dismissed the legend as foolishness, until the Phantom attacked a convoy. It left only wreckage and blood, but the colony's surveillance drones captured something chilling. A figure standing in the fog draped in a long coat, holding what looked like a pistol. Next to him, a beast unlike any on record, a massive scaled dragon, obsidian black with burning amber eyes. The Phantom rode the creature as if it were his steed, vanishing into the shadows before the drones could lock on. Liora had one thought. That's no ghost. That's a man, and she was going to hunt him down. The hunt begins. Liora assembled a team of 3. Kieran, her marksman, Anaya, the tracker, and Roque, her engineer. They set out into the jungle, guided by heat signatures and drone footage. The deeper they traveled, the heavier the silence grew. The jungle was never quiet. Something was wrong. Then they found the first wreckage, a colony vehicle, its hull slashed as though by massive claws, the pilot's body half burned by what looked like dragon fire. Liora's gut twisted. This isn't random, Anaya murmured, scanning the ground. Whoever this is, they're hunting us. A shadow flickered overhead. Then came the roar. A burst of fire rained down from above, forcing the team to dive for cover. Liora looked up and saw it. The beast. Black scales shimmered in the dim sunlight as its wings stretched wide, soaring above them like a god of war. But the true terror was the rider, a tall figure in a long coat, gripping the reins with one hand and aiming a sleek, ancient pistol with the other. He's real, Roque whispered in disbelief. Before Liora could react, the man fired. The shot didn't hit them. It hit the tree beside them, causing it to explode. Liora barely had time to process the impossibility before the Phantom and his beast vanished into the mist. The face behind the Phantom. For 3 days, they tracked him. It was no ordinary pursuit. The Phantom led them deeper, into abandoned ruins, half-buried technology, strange carvings of dragons and men together. He wasn't just hiding. He was leading them somewhere. On the 4th day, they walked into his trap. A pulse detonated in the air, an EMP. Their weapons and comms died instantly. Then he stepped from the shadows, pistol leveled at Liora's chest. Up close, he was no ghost. He was human but altered. His eyes glowed a deep amber, like the beast's. His skin was battle-worn, his coat frayed with age. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice rough and used. "Turn back." Liora didn't lower her hands. "You're human?" The Phantom's jaw clenched. His dragon landed behind him, steam rising from its nostrils. "I was..." Roque, ever the bold one, asked, "Who are you?" A silence stretched before the man exhaled. "My name was Captain Dane Mercer. Long ago, I commanded a colonial warship. We crashed here. My crew died. I should have, too." He ran a gloved hand along his dragon's neck. "But the planet changed me." Liora frowned. "Change you how?" He lifted his pistol. "This weapon? It shouldn't exist. It shouldn't fire plasma. But here it does." He gestured at his dragon. "This species? It shouldn't be able to think like I do. But it does." Anaya stepped forward, cautious. "You bonded with it." Dane nodded. "This world doesn't kill everything. It chooses." It chose me. His gaze darkened. It won't choose you. Liora understood. He wasn't hunting them. He was warning them. But before she could reply, a deep rumble echoed through the jungle. Dane stiffened. You led them here. From the mist, the true monsters of Vexes emerged. Towering reptilian beasts with razor talons, dead white eyes, and no souls. They had been hunting Dane, and now they had fresh prey. The final stand. The creatures charged. Dane moved first, raising his pistol and firing precise, deadly blasts. The plasma seared through the monsters, but they kept coming. Liora grabbed a fallen blade, swinging as one lunged at her. Anaya and Kieran fought with sheer survival instinct. Roque scrambled to fix their EMP-fried weapons. Dane whistled. His dragon roared in response, taking to the air and unleashing hellfire. The jungle turned into a battlefield of smoke, fire, and steel. One beast lunged for Dane, too fast. Liora fired. The shot hit true. The beast staggered, shrieked, and fell. Dane met her eyes, a flicker of surprise before a nod. They fought side by side, and together, they won. The end of a legend. When the last creature fell, the jungle was silent again. Dane stood over the bodies, his dragon curling protectively around him. He looked at Liora's team, not as enemies, but as survivors. You saw what's out there, he said. You understand now. Liora nodded. The colony needs to leave. Dane exhaled. They won't. She knew he was right. Bureaucrats never listened. They would keep sending people, sending soldiers, until they controlled the planet, or until it controlled them. Dane's gaze hardened. Then I'll keep fighting. There was no hatred in his voice, only resolve. Liora took a step back, lowering her weapon. Then let me give them a warning. Dane smirked. Tell them the Phantom of Vexes is real. She nodded. And tell me one thing. If the world chose you, why did it give you a ship, a gun, and a dragon? Dane looked at his beast, then at the ruins around them. Because I wasn't the first. And with that, he climbed onto his dragon, turned, and vanished into the mist once more. The legend, the ghost, the last warrior of Vexes 4. Liora watched him go, and for the first time, she hoped the colony never found him again.